What is up? This is Mikey MMA. Today we're going to be going through our picks and predictions for UFC London, Edwards versus Brady. This is a pretty good card, and in addition, it's early, which is always nice. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into this one. All right, fight number one, we got Guram Kutateladze versus Cowie Fernandez. So I'm just going to call him Guram because that last name is a fucking tongue twister. But this guy is quite overrated, in my opinion. Guram, that is. He's a pretty decent striker. He's an okay wrestler, but people kind of oversell how good he is just because he's well-rounded and he beat Mateus Gamrot in a super close split decision. And just because he had that one good win, people are like, oh my god, this guy's the fucking second coming, whatever. He's not. He's never going to be champion. He's probably never even going to be ranked. He is a decent fighter. Super overrated, though. On the other side, we got Cowie Fernandez. This guy's 1-1 in the UFC. He lost to Splitty to Mark Diakiese and then knocked out Muhammad Yahya. But beating Muhammad Yahya means absolutely fucking nothing because that guy is an absolute shitter. He's not overrated. He just is a shitter. Cowie, on the other hand, pretty good. Decent striker. I think Guram is going to win this. Just because he has the wrestling upside in what is a pretty close fight. And yeah, that's what I think about this one. The odds are a little bit wide, so I would avoid betting on this fight, but I do still think that Guram will win. All right, fight number two, Cowlin Loughran versus AJ Fletcher. Oh no, shit, AJ Fletcher's the washed up welterweight. This is Nathan Fletcher. Anyways, Cowlin Loughran. I just have down that this guy's a fucking low volume aura merchant who has lost to two fighters no longer in the UFC. Yeah, he's got solid striking, he's got okay wrestling, but he's not super dangerous, not super skilled. And as I said before, this guy's low volume, so what's good striking gonna do you if you never fucking throw your hands? So yeah, that's Callum Loughran, as you can tell, not super high on the guy. On the other side, we got AJ, did it again, Nathan Fletcher. Who's a pretty good jiu-jitsu fighter, fighting out of Paddy Pimblett's gym, in Liverpool, I believe it's in Liverpool. Um, here we're just gonna be fading Callum Loughran, to be honest. We're going with Nathan Fletcher, as I said, by submission, because this guy is a jiu-jitsu fighter. And I'm pretty confident I got this as a 7 out of 10. Just because Callum Loughran fucking sucks. So yeah, anyways, on to the next one. All right, fight number three, we got Shauna Mama B Bannon versus Pooja Tomar. This one's a coin flip. On my notes, I'm just picking Tomar because she is the underdog in what is a pretty low level fight between pretty low level fighters. So yeah, I'm not gonna waste my time on this one or waste your time. Pooja Tomar is the pick. On to the next one. All right, so for fight number four, we got Andre Pulaev versus Christian Leroy Duncan. This is a middleweight fight between two guys who I'm not the most high on, just to be completely honest. To start off, we got Andre Pulaev. This guy's from last year's Contender Series season. He looked okay, got a unanimous decision win. He's a decent striker, but nothing too crazy. On the other side, we got Christian Leroy Duncan. This guy's a very solid striker. He only really loses to people who have a wrestling threat or better striking fundamentals. Neither of which are Andre Pulaev, I believe. And he does have a wrestling ability of his own, but it's not his preferred skill set. This guy wants to strike on the feet, and that's what I think is going to happen here. I think this fight was designed for Duncan to win on the feet, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's just going to outstrike Pulaev over 3 rounds. I don't think he's going to get a knockout or a submission, but I definitely do think Duncan is going to win a comfortable, unanimous decision. All right, fight number 5, Marcin Tybura versus Mick Parkin. So this is our favorite weekly battle of the blobs. We'll start off with Marcin Tybura, who concerningly is a top 10 ranked heavyweight. Yes. That's where we're at in 2025 in the UFC. This guy's an okay wrestler. He's an okay striker. And he's got a pretty shitty chin, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a worry against Mick Parkin, to be honest. And Marcin Tybura does not have the most power in the world, but he can inflict damage on the ground. And on rare occasion, this guy can get submissions, such as the one he got over Tai Tuivasa. I'm not sure if that's Tybura's skill set or Tai Tuivasa's lack thereof, but regardless, that is something that did happen. All right, anyways, Mick Parkin, solid boxer, a little bit slow, and he does not have a ton of power on his shots. This guy is undefeated overall and in the UFC. However, his wins are not over the best competition, and he's kind of underperformed, taking people such as Muhammad Usman and fucking Caio Machado to pretty close unanimous decision wins, 29-28 type shit. And for that reason, we're just going to go with Marcin Tybura. I think this guy's a little bit too high level for Mick Parkin, and I think that he's just going to kind of be able to grind out a decision win via withstanding most of Parkin's shots and just getting him on the ground. So, yeah, that's what we got there. Excuse me. All right, this is a pretty sick fight. Loner Kavanagh versus Felipe dos Santos. Loner Kavanagh is a sick prospect off of last season of Contender Series. This guy got an insane knockout in the first fight of the first episode of last season. Kind of set things off in a really good way. And he's a super fast striker with legit power and pretty decent wrestling as well. It's not his primary skill set, but he can do it if he needs to. On the other side, we got Felipe dos Anjos, who is 1-2 in the UFC. However, it is against good competition. I do need to mention that Dos Santos' one win was a pretty controversial split decision over Victor Altamirano, who is not a good fighter. So getting close on the judges with that guy, not the best look. However, this guy does have good striking, pretty decent chin, good jiu-jitsu, suspect takedown defense, as we saw in that Altamirano fight. And he's got that shootbox style, like Charles Oliveira. Pretty wild, just kind of goes at you with Muay Thai and just is willing to fight, whether it's on the ground or on the feet or whatever. Anyways, we're going Loner here. He's just going to be too fast, too technical, and just too good. I think he's going to win by a pretty clear, unanimous 30-27 decision. All right. So now we got Jai Herbert versus Chris Padilla. Jai Herbert is a tall, lanky lightweight. He's kind of getting a bit old. I think he's 36. And he's kind of underperformed a bit in the UFC, I would say. He tends to lose to all of the high-level fighters that he fights. So yeah, that's Jai Herbert. On the other side, we got Chris Padilla. This guy is the opposite. He's overperformed in a really impressive way. He's 2-0 in the UFC, both by finishes over not the most high level in Yamis Lantop, and then a pretty decent prospect in Rong Zhu. However, both of those were by different types of finishes, one by submission and one by knockout, which shows that this guy's game is pretty multifaceted. He's pretty well-rounded. He's got good striking, good wrestling, and good jiu-jitsu. And for that reason, we're going to be going with Chris Padilla here. I think it's the smart pick. He's more well-rounded. He's got more momentum going into this fight. And he's got wrestling. And Jai Herbert is really, really shit against wrestlers. I saw a stat that he's lost every single fight in the UFC where he's let one takedown happen. So yeah, we're going with Chris Padilla here. I think it's pretty clear cut. This guy's one of the best bets of the week in my opinion. All right, fight number 8, Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charrier. So Nathaniel Wood is a pretty skilled all-around mixed martial artist. He is kind of small for 145, and he is a bit chinny. He got dropped by Andre Fili. Not a whole lot of power. He did also drop Andre Fili, but that doesn't mean shit because Fili's chin is gone. And then yeah, that's Nathaniel Wood. He does a pretty decent wrestling, but I don't know. I think Charrier should be able to stuff his takedowns. Morgan Charrier is 20 wins and 10 losses, I believe, but he's much better than that record does suggest. He only loses to good competition, and 5 of those losses are by split or majority decision, including to fighters such as Paul Hughes, Jordan Vucenic, and Chepe Mariscal. Taking those guys to a close decision is really impressive in my opinion. Um, and I think that this guy's just better all around than Nathaniel Wood. I think he's much larger, um, and he should be able to keep this fight wherever he wants it to be, and maybe even find Wood's chin as the fight does go on. That's what I think here. I think he's gonna find a late TKO, and yeah, that's my thoughts on this one. All right, fight number 9: Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. Jordan Vucenic is a very skilled Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter who does have a lot of power as well. He's 0-1 in the UFC. That one loss being a short notice loss to Guram Kutateladze, where he did drop him pretty badly in the first round and then lost the second two. He's super dangerous wherever the fight goes. He's got submission threat, striking threat, all that. However, Chris Duncan is also a dangerous fighter, and he also has threats wherever the fight goes. He's got pretty decent power, and then he has a nasty, nasty guillotine choke. He's got that ATT guillotine choke that he learned from Dustin Poirier. Um, and I think Chris Duncan is the good pick here. This is a pretty close fight between two very similar fighters. But I just think that Duncan has the UFC experience. He has the size. Vucenic is a former featherweight. Um, so yeah, I just think Duncan is the fighter to pick here. I mean, I don't really know what else there is to say. I think he should be able to keep this fight on the feet if he wants to and find that knockout. All right, fight number 10. I do not know why this is on the main card, but we'll make a pick, I guess. Molly McCann versus Alexia Tainara. Molly McCann is an absolute bun. Molly the Can McCann, people call her. And Alexa Tainara, I really just don't know jack shit about her. She was in the Contender Series, but I to be honest, I skipped her fight. I wasn't super interested in it. And we're going Molly here via Aura because she is going to be in London. And yeah, I don't really know. I don't really have any thought process behind this one. But yeah, Molly McCann via spinning back elbow fluke knockout in round 2. Just going to call my shot right now and we'll see how it goes. Fight number 11 is Kevin Holland versus Gunnar Nelson. This fight, the odds fucking baffle me. I do not know why Kevin Holland is an underdog. He's a good striker. He's got underrated BJJ, especially at 170. He does have shit takedown defense, but again, that's better at 170, and that's where this fight will be at. There are questions to be had about Kevin Holland's mentality going into this fight, going into his last couple fights. He has shown to be a bit of a quitter, but I think the fact that he's going down to 170 kind of shows that he's finally taking his shit a little bit more seriously. At least that's what I hope, because I will be betting on Kevin Holland. On the other side, we got Gunnar Nelson, who's like a karate style fighter on the feet. He's pretty ineffective with his striking. But yeah, he does have that like karate McGregor style because the two of them used to train together. But he's mostly known for his Brazilian jiu-jitsu. This guy's nasty on the ground. However, he is coming off of a 2-year layoff, and his most recent wins are to Takashi Sato and Brian Barberina. If you guys don't know who those guys are, I do not blame you. They are no longer with the UFC. I think Kevin Holland is going to win here. I think that he's going to be too big for Gunnar to take down, and I think he's going to be too powerful for Gunnar to be comfortable on the feet with. So yeah, I think 1 + 1 = 2, and this guy is going to find a knockout. All right, fight number 12 is Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. Jan Blachowicz is a good boxer with good wrestling and top control. Pretty solid power. However, he is coming off of a 1.5-year layoff, including major injuries and surgeries. So this guy hasn't been like training for a 1.5 years. He's been under the knife, healing up. kind of trying to rehabilitate and get back into the fighting game. I think there was a time when he kind of like even considered retiring, so I don't think that's the best sign. On the other side, we got Carlos Ulberg. He's a skilled kickboxer with intelligent striking and counter striking. He's got solid power as well, but I don't think he is as strong as Blachowicz. Um, I do think Blachowicz does have some upside as an underdog due to his experience and wrestling superiority. However, this guy is 42 and he is coming off of that long layoff. Um, so I probably would avoid picking him or betting on him. And I just think that Ulberg's going to be a little bit too fast here. I am rooting for Jan. I'm really hoping that Jan wins. But I'm going to go with Carlos. And our final fight of the night, Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. Leon Edwards is another fighter with elite skills, but a pretty shit mentality, kind of like Kevin Holland. This guy's got nasty striking, and he does have power, but he never ever uses it. This guy is the fastest KO in the welterweight division, but he just hasn't shown power since then. Other than the head kick, but like kind of a fluke. This guy does have good wrestling, good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But I saw this thing that someone said about not Kevin Holland, Leon Edwards, that he fights not to lose. He doesn't fight to win. And I thought that was just like the most accurate shit ever. Like this guy's mentality is just not there. And I think the only reason why he like fights the way he does is because he's afraid of losing. So yeah, that's what I think about Leon Edwards. And then on the other side, we got Sean Brady. This guy is a good wrestler and nasty grappler. Legit top control. He's kind of got that grinding, like Bilal Muhammad, Merab Dvalishvili-esque style on the ground. And then he also is improving on his striking, but I don't think that's really where he excels or where he wants to be in a fight. Anyways, I was going to pick Leon the entire week. And then yesterday I saw that he had staph. And then today I saw an interview with him where he was saying that he's the GOAT of the welterweight division. And that shit made me be like, holy fuck, this guy is so delusional. I just don't think this guy is in the right place mentally. And I think that Sean Brady's been grinding. He's been locked in. And yeah, for that reason, pretty much, we are going with Sean Brady by decision here. And then quickly, just to run through the best bets. Chris Padilla, underdog, plus 105. Kevin Holland, plus 110, good odds. And then just those two long shots at the bottom. Chris Padilla, I think his way of winning is going to be by submission, so I think that's pretty good value. And then I was just looking at the odds on Bet365, and I saw Carlos Ulberg by submission at plus 1800. And I don't think this is like likely for how the fight's going to go, but he has been known to win by submission. And I do think it's a possibility that he could like drop him and then get a rear naked choke or some shit. And I think it's more likely to happen than 1 out of 18 times, which is what this line is set at. So yeah, if you're feeling cheeky, throw $10 on that shit. But the top 3 are the bets that I'm actually like seriously considering. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope I do better on this one than in my past couple weeks. I've always been good at making the bets, but my picks like kind of aren't really my specialty. I did make a couple of risky ones this week, like Chris Duncan, but fingers crossed we do well. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Peace.